Witness the everyday struggle for survival in untamed worlds. Stories of the animal universe come to life. Next on Wildlife Chronicles.
Every year, on the first Saturday in May, the people of the town of Hamburg, Arkansas, pay tribute to the most popular member of their community. Festivals like this are commonplace in many other small towns throughout the southern states of North America. The resident is a relative newcomer. 100 years ago, it was unheard of in these parts. But in that time, the armadillo has increased in range and popularity at an unbelievable rate. Clumsy in gait and quite clearly shortchanged in beauty, grace, and elegance, it may seem curious that so many people should celebrate the presence of this creature in their neighborhood. In fact, the armadillo was recently declared the state mammal of Texas. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, the armadillo became a valuable source of protein and was the staple diet in many rural areas. The similarity of its flesh to pork soon earned it the title of poor man's pig. The name armadillo comes from the Spanish and means little armored-plated one, although its protective covering could more aptly be described as chain mail rather than armor. Dillos, as they're affectionately called, are very primitive mammals. They've been around almost unchanged for 60 million years. They belong to a group of animals called the edentates, or toothless creatures. They do, however, have small, simple teeth. The armadillo has close relatives throughout the Americas. Among them, the anteaters, like this tamandua, with a single young clinging to its back. Perhaps surprisingly, tree sloths from the tropical rainforests of South and Central America belong to the same group. They, too, have small, primitive teeth for their exclusively vegetarian diet. For many years, the pangolins of Africa and Asia were also grouped with the armadillos, and although they're no longer regarded as related, they do demonstrate a good example of parallel evolution. There are some 20 species of dillos distributed throughout the New World. This one, the Pichi, lives in Patagonia, Argentina, and scours the penguin colonies for the numerous corpses that litter the site. The Pichi also digs down beneath the dead birds for the numerous insects that are attracted to them. The six-banded armadillo also lives in Argentina. It's particularly fond of corn and has become a serious pest of crop farming regions. It's sometimes known as the hairy armadillo, but the true owner of this title is a much hairier creature. The short, bristly hairs project from the skin between the animal's armor. But perhaps the most familiar of all armadillos is the nine-banded, which is found throughout most of South, Central, and now in North America. It's about the size of a large rabbit. In fact, it was known to the Aztecs as the turtle rabbit because of the similarities it shows to both animals. Its ears are quite sensitive and make up, to some extent anyway, for its appallingly bad eyesight. The armor itself is composed of small, bony scales that increase in size as the animal grows. There are two large shields, one over the shoulders and the other over the hips. Between them is a series of 8 rows of armor, separated by 9 darker bands of skin, hence the name nine-banded armadillo. The dillo's tail, too, is covered by rings of bony plates, although many, like this one, seem to lose the end at some time or other. The armadillo's armor plating isn't powerful enough to protect it from an animal as large as a cougar, but it does allow it to scurry through thorny undergrowth where no predator could follow. The dillo's snout is fleshy and pig-like. It's very sensitive, and the armadillo uses it to sniff out its food above and below ground. Underneath its bony shell, the armadillo has a thick-set, powerful skeleton. The ribs are strong and flattened, adding extra strength to its tough covering. The teeth are small and peg-like and set at the back of the mouth for grinding rather than biting. Its feet, front and back, are equipped with large, powerful claws for digging and scraping, and the shape of the bones in the limbs indicates the presence of powerful muscles. The nine-banded armadillo takes to water readily. No canal, river, or lake seems to be too wide. The presence of so much protective bone would make any other animal sink like a stone. But the armadillo has a remarkable adaptation for keeping afloat. It swallows large quantities of air, which inflate its intestines and prevent it from sinking. It could also stay submerged for several minutes, and even walk along the bottom.
Wildlife Chronicles will continue on the Discovery Channel.
It's an all-new season coming this fall, only on the Discovery Channel.
So bright, new lemon Clorox 2. So bright, the brilliance of lemon in a liquid bleach.
Jackie's whites are whiter, but his blues are brighter, and Nicky is pretty as a rainbow.
On the Denorex side of my head, I feel a tingling, like Denorex is working to get rid of my dandruff. That's me. That tingly feeling convinced me to switch from Head & Shoulders to Denorex.
Denorex with conditioners, the dandruff shampoo you can feel working.
Denorex is my shampoo now.
Now on video cassette.
This is Fern Gully.
Don't you wish all your friends from Fern Gully
I'm Krista.
could come out and play?
We could fix that for you.
Well, now they can.
Wow!
There's Krista,
Are you really a human? Whoa! Wow!
Batty Coda, and Zach. For a limited time, your Forest Adventure set is free with purchase of the hit movie Fern Gully, rated G.
Isn't this great?
Look for your free adventure set when you buy Fern Gully at Musicland, Sam Goody, and Suncoast Motion Picture Company stores.
Just when I need someone to love me, Just when I think the world's too cold, there you are, right there beside me. There you are in my heart, standing by me once again. There
Sheba, because you cherish your cat.
Hello, I'm Loretta Swit. Join me for a sneak preview of Discovery's new fall season. See infant animals on wildlife journey, daredevil flyers on skybound, history-making aircraft on frontiers of flight, cutting-edge technology on next step, everyday people who became heroes on Heart of Courage, and real crime stories from the drawers of Justice Files. Discovery's opening night, Sunday, 7 Eastern.
It buried the bottom teeth into my face here, and the top teeth were over my head, went into my neck, and I noticed that I was streaming blood bad.
What can unprovoked attacks teach us about these monsters of the deep? And how can man protect himself from their unpredictable fury? Don't miss Secrets of the Deep, California Whites. Tuesday at 9 Eastern, only on the Discovery Channel. We now return to Wildlife Chronicles on the Discovery Channel.
Just before the turn of the century, the 9-banded armadillo lived throughout most of Central and South America, just entering the USA in southwest Texas. Over the next 50 years, it gradually spread north and eastwards. By the 1950s, it had almost reached the banks of the Mississippi, well into Louisiana. Around 1950, a population of armadillos had established themselves from a number of animals that had escaped from captivity in Cocoa, Florida. By the mid-70s, the two populations had continued to spread, until by 1982 they'd merged. The 9-banded armadillo's range now covers the whole of the southeastern part of the United States. Throughout its range, the armadillo spends most of its time in underground dens that it excavates itself. Its armored head serves as a useful shovel to push out the loose earth, while its front and hind legs are used to loosen or kick out the soil. The burrows are built in banks or at the bases of trees and can vary in length from 4 to 15 feet. At the end of the tunnel is a nesting chamber, and every so often the armadillo cleans out this chamber and changes its bedding material. The choice of nesting material largely depends on the type of vegetation that surrounds the burrow. Leaves, straw, and other plant debris are piled up and then transported to the mouth of the burrow in a curious way. The dillo bunches the material under its body, and then grasping it between its front and hind legs, it hops backwards to the nest. This way, much larger amounts of material can be carried in one go. Only occasionally does the armadillo share its burrow, and even though each individual has a home range, there is little antagonism with intruders. As we'll see, the armadillo doesn't have to venture far to find more than enough to eat. The nine-banded armadillo's ability to eat almost anything has played an important part in its rapid spread across the southern half of North America. Insects are a major part of its diet, and like its close relative, the anteater, ants are a favorite food. Although the armadillo's tongue isn't nearly so well adapted for the job, it does lap them up dozens at a time. Crickets and grasshoppers, provided they're slow-moving, are also eaten avidly. An old rotting log provides a whole variety of grubs, beetles, and other insects, and the armadillo's powerful front claws allow it to rip open the rotten wood. Armadillos also use their good sense of smell to detect food just below the surface of the soil. They root around like pigs, using their snouts to disturb the loose earth.
Wildlife Chronicles will continue on the Discovery Channel.
Ever since I was a little kid, the only thing I was interested in was dogs.
John Woodring, top breeder of champion beagles.
I show dogs because I love showing the dogs. I do it for the personal satisfaction of taking a nice dog and having it win in the ring. I only want my dogs to have the best food, and the best food we've found is pedigree and pedigree mealtime. I really like the pedigree meat mixed with the mealtime drying. I'd recommend pedigree to anybody who owns a dog, either a pet or a show dog.
Pedigree, developed with vets, recommended by top breeders.
I've seen some messes you wouldn't believe.
Jim's Diner counts on 409 spray cleaner every day.
It's proof that adults play with their food.
Because nothing works harder than 409 on tough grease and dirt.
You name it, it's cleaned it.
Formula 409 cleans up anything you can dish out.
Hollywood Pictures and Miramax Films present Whoopi Goldberg as a teacher.
Listen to these voices.
Who had the courage to fight for her students.
I want them to have a sense of pride in themselves.
For the soul of her people.
Freedom is just the beginning. Think bigger.
And for a dream that will live forever.
Yes, I like it. Freedom is coming.
Whoopi Goldberg, and introducing Laletti Kamalo as Serafina. Rated PG-13. Now playing in select cities. Starts Friday.
Hello, I'm Gil Eastman.
I'm Mary Lou Nowitzki, and this is Deaf Mosaic.
Explore the world of deaf people Saturday on the Discovery Channel.
Attention homeowners. Coming your way now. Special savings when you have Sears install new custom windows. Tired of repainting those old wood windows over and over? Then call now and save $75 each on Sears' best replacement windows. That's $75 off each window from Sears' wide selection, including easy cleaning tilt-in models. Imagine $75 off Sears' best installed custom-sized windows. But hurry, this is a limited time offer. Call Sears now for your free in-home estimate. All are energy-efficient dual pane or choose low-E glass to help save energy. Right now, save $75 on Sears' best windows. Arrange your free in-home estimate today. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Call now before this offer's come and gone. For all your home improvements, you can count on Sears, the most trusted name around the house.
We now return to Wildlife Chronicles on the Discovery Channel.
During very hot weather, armadillos are active only at night, emerging from their burrows after dark to hunt for beetles and worms. They rarely stray very far from the dense vegetation that protects them. A dirt bath helps it to get rid of external parasites that lodge between the rows of bony scales. In North America, the armadillo has very few natural enemies. Only large predators like coyotes and cougars can kill and eat them. This one has had its tail chewed by a domestic dog. Provided it doesn't become infected, then no great harm will have been done. Roadside verges are rich hunting grounds, and by far the greatest number are killed by cars while crossing the road, especially at night. Dead armadillos litter the roads in Florida much as hedgehogs do in Europe. It's now late spring in Florida, and many of the 9-banded armadillos have already produced young. Mating took place last summer, but the implantation of the embryos was delayed for several months. The gestation period could be as long as 20 months. The young are born fully developed with their eyes open, and they begin to move around inside the den almost immediately. Their pinkish skin is leathery and quite pliable at first. It will begin to harden within a few days. The 9-banded armadillo usually has a litter of 4 young, and the mother suckles them in the protection of the burrow. They'll be fully weaned within 3 months, and during this period, frequent changes of bedding become necessary. Only under the cover of darkness do the pups venture outside, and then they rarely travel more than a few feet. They're now several weeks old, and their bony shells have hardened and become darker. They'll be fully grown within 12 months and ready to breed themselves at the age of almost 2 years. The remarkable fact is that not only are the pups in one litter always the same sex, but that they are all developed from the same single egg which divided after fertilization. The 4 young 9-banded armadillos are therefore all genetically identical. The fact that the young are all carbon copies of each other makes them invaluable subjects for medical research. The 9-banded armadillo is unique in another way too. It's one of the very few creatures, other than man, that is susceptible to leprosy. These 2 facts make it the ideal laboratory animal to help scientists like Dr. Eleanor Storrs in the fight against this ancient disease. In armadillos, the presence of leprosy isn't immediately apparent. It doesn't have the same disfiguring symptoms as it does in humans. Some wild armadillos in Louisiana and Texas have been found to carry leprosy. Although there's no evidence that they transmit it to man, extreme caution is taken in all research with infected animals. It's amazing to think that without this animal, we'd be no nearer to finding a cure than we were a century ago. A vaccine is already available for testing, and this odd-looking creature may have helped to bring relief to some of the 12 million people known to suffer from leprosy throughout the world. But whilst the armadillo is enabling man to extend the boundaries of his medical knowledge, the limits of its own boundaries have almost been reached. Because it originated in warmer climes, it hasn't adapted the ability to hibernate, so its spread northwards has been halted by the severity of the winters. But below this boundary, the 9-banded armadillo continues to spread and increase in number, and the people of these states will go on celebrating the presence of this recent and most popular addition to North America's fauna.
All this week at 7 Eastern, take a cross-country journey full of beauty and wonder. A week-long trip exploring the richness and splendor of our own national parks as Discovery presents America's Natural Playgrounds.
I'm Loretta Swit. Join me for Discovery's opening night, Sunday.
This portion of Discovery is sponsored in part by Nitol and Maximum Strength Nitol.
I'm Dr. Donna Willis for Discovery Now. Scientists have discovered a human protein called substance P that may protect against brain cell destruction that causes dementia in Alzheimer's patients. Using rats as their patients, doctors first mimic brain cell destruction by injecting beta amyloid, another natural human protein.
What the amyloid did was to bring on some of the same changes that one sees in Alzheimer's disease. And then when the substance P was injected, it blocked the effects.
The study has two results. It points to both the protein that causes disorientation in Alzheimer's patients, as well as the hormone that may help to protect against it. Scientists stress that the results of these animal studies are encouraging, but that human clinical trials are necessary to determine the results in humans. I'm Dr. Donna Willis for Discovery Now.
I've got a 6 a.m. flight. I've got to get some Z's.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast so you can get your Z's. Nitol or Maximum Strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
You scum! I want you out of my life. Soap scum's disgusting. That's why I use X14 Soap Scum Remover. X14 is made to get rid of slimy soap scum without scrubbing. Try X14 Soap Scum Remover.